What is up, Pauper players? Welcome back to another Salt and Pauper set review video. And today we're talking about Final Fantasy. It's here. It's actually happening. Universes Beyond is now Universes Within, and they're here to stay. And like it or not, this is Magic now. So here we are, and we're going to talk about it. Josh, aka Mayo, on the internet as usual, joining me from the closet. Dude, I appreciate you dressing up. It's really awesome. And I can tell you're really excited about this set, so what do you say we just jump right in?
It is so hot in here. This is June. You do not understand what it's like inside this costume.
If
Exact.
you're interested in maybe these set reviews getting a little more wacky, a little more podcasty, and occasionally pulling out some costumes, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll think about it for the next one, which is Marvel, I think. So that could be a cool dress-up day. Who knows? But we're going to start off with some honorable mentions as per usual. The first of which is going to be Magictech Infantry. This is a 1/1 artifact creature robot soldier for 1 white. It says, as long as you control another artifact, it gets +1/+0, and you can pay 3 mana, 2 and a white, to search your library for a card named Magictech Infantry and put it onto the battlefield tap. So it sort of has the Rebel ability. For those of you like OGs that played way back in like the Scourge Legion days and saw Rebels, really interesting card. I wish that this had the you could play any number of them text. I think that would be super cool. Um, but as it is, super interesting card. I think it's pretty okay. I don't know if this card's great, but it's certainly interesting. And it's really cool to see them kind of pushing the boundaries of like one drop type effects in this set here. This is certainly a unique printing, and I hope that they do a little more in this design space, specifically with like something with Squadron and Hawk in its name in the future. That would be pretty cool. But Josh, what do you think about this one?
I like it a lot. It's not exactly a court homunculus, but it can find other court homunculi, which I really enjoy. It would be more fitting in the most recent series of 1 mana white cards if it pumped toughness.
Right.
Um,
Agreed.
eh, but I do like how it effectively gets you the elite vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to pay 2 to crack a clue or something. You just pay 3, get another one out. So it's almost always going to be a 2/1, which is going to be very good.
Well, and we've talked about it a few times in past set reviews, but like things like what was it, Mandible Justicar and a couple other like artifact matters white cards have been kind of slipping through the cracks over the last couple of years of sets. And this is like a pretty interesting way to kind of enable those cards and give you kind of a mana sink that also helps you go wide and really sort of builds this like artifact matters white aggro sub theme.
Mhm.
So really
Look, I'm
interesting
going
to
to
see
need
where
you
this
to stop.
goes.
You're giving away my secrets here. All right, now I'm going to have to come up with a completely different deck. I got to scrap this whole idea.
Just wait until you see the clowning around tech mixed in. Um, all right, so next
2
up,
decks now.
Josh, why don't you take us to honorable mention number 2? We're gonna kind of speed run these because we got lots to talk about.
Sure. So this one for me is Black Mage's Rod. It's a colorless and a black for an artifact equipment with job select. So when it enters, you create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token, and then you attach this equipment to it. And the equipped creature gets +1/+0, and it has whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent, and is wizard in addition to its other types. With an equipment cost of 3 colorless.
I really
I like
don't
it.
like the job select
Mhm.
ability, how they went with it. I
Mhm.
really wish that you actually got to select something. Like I would have loved to see them do like job select and like maybe make all of them cost 1 more, but then all of the options were different colored tokens instead of a colorless token. So like you could get a white 2/1 or like a white 1/2, a red 2/1, a green, something like that maybe. I think would have been really interesting
Mhm.
just because it would have been
I
a little more
see what
on
you mean.
theme, I think. Because
What? Yeah.
this doesn't really
Mhm.
get much of a selection, right? You play the card,
Yeah.
the hero is thrust into the black mage job. There is no selection.
Mhm.
Um, but
Mhm.
the card itself has merit. I'll let
Mhm.
you go into
Mhm.
why this is here. So it's on the honorable mention list. Tell me why.
Sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and come back to what you said earlier about the job select tangent, but I like this one because it leaves behind the token that the Mysidian Elder does, or leaves behind a token that, when equipped, has the effect that the Mysidian Elder's token leaves behind. In that, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to ping a player, and the Black Mage's Rod, being an artifact, is going to be pretty resilient to um, the normal ways of removal.
One
And
small
once you,
correction: it doesn't ping a player; it actually pings each opponent. So those of you playing Pauper Commander, this deals 3 damage instead of 1 damage. So that's pretty cool. Continue.
I like it because you can constantly flicker it if you want. It's going to be both an army in a can and a win condition on just for 1 damage each time. If you go infinite, you can win, or if you just want to get a lot of flicker value out of it, you can get a good little board set up that way. Um, the one that I'm thinking of for flickering would be Ghostly Flicker. So
Mm-hmm.
you can easily, if you're in Tron, you can make
Yep.
3 to 4 of these tokens a turn, and you dome your opponent each time you get a new token. Um,
Right. Right.
that's that's why I enjoy this card. I want it to be the value um, card instead of
Mm-hmm.
just an instant win.
Sure.
But I mean, if you go infinite, you go infinite. No one can really
I
blame you on that.
I really wish that this gave the token that Mysidian Elder does instead of having the equipment do the token ability. I really wish that it left behind the token that you want it to leave behind. I don't like
Mhm.
the equip 3 plus the fact that if they kill your 1 toughness creature, you're kind of SOL. I do think that this might have a home um, alongside the Raven from Outlaws of Thunder Junction in like Black Burn, um, which is really interesting because now, unlike previously where the pingers were all in red, now black has access to 2 pingers. And combining that with things like Alms of the Vein and Bump in the Night and some of the other like black burn spells like the what was it, the council's judge, not council's judgment, the vote card that deals
Verdict.
4 to each player. um
Oh, that one, Tyrant.
Tyrant's Choice or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like we're getting to a point where Blackburn might have like a reasonable enough creature in quotation marks because this is definitely an artifact, but it makes creature, and it would be in a creature slot in that deck where it's getting to a level of like pseudo consistency. And if Blackburn ever does hit that consistency threshold, I think that deck's actually going to be pretty good. So it's one to keep an eye on, but not quite a slam dunk as it is a little weak. And I'm not sure that you're able to count on this in Flickertron the way that Josh is kind of hoping here because of that artifact subtype. It is going to be like a significantly limiting factor.
Also, though, I got one more thing that we've overlooked for why I like this card.
Okay.
Have you seen the hero token?
No, but I'll put it
That's
on
my
screen.
reason. I love
Uh,
that. That hero token looks so good.
Fair enough. All right. I'll kind of leave this one to time, and we'll see who's correct. I don't foresee this card having a home outside of like that Blackburn Raven style deck. I certainly don't think this is going to be a win condition for like Flicker, but maybe we'll see. I'm not a huge fan of 2/1 for 2. This is just kind of firebrand archers to me in black, and that card has largely been outgrown in red. And I don't think that there's a black style of deck currently that wants Firebrand Archer. Just from the available black pool, it's just not the style that deck is playing. So if you're gonna play mono black aggro, you're playing like mono black sack, for instance, and this wants nothing to do with that. So we'll see what happens. Moving right along. Next up is a special shout out to Kalikai's. This is Laughing Mad. This is a 3-mana instant, 2 in a red. Has flashback for 3 in a red, and as an additional cost, you discard a card, draw 2 cards. We've seen lots and lots of iterations on this. This is an instant for 3 mana instead of 2 mana, but it has flashback. And I think we are getting to a point now where we are reaching a critical mass of these draw type effects, these value generations in red for Kalikai's kind of codename Ruby Storm for Pauper. We are dangerously close to, I think, that deck being absolutely busted. Like, we're like 1 card printing away. Either like a ritual effect to give it a little bit more consistent, like fast mana turns, or maybe something like another cost reducer, or maybe another like gutter snipe type effect, or maybe just like a spell in red that gets you an instant or sorcery back from your graveyard, like Ardent Elementalist, but as a spell itself. I'm not 100% sure what it's missing, but it feels like it's really close. And we're inching ever closer with each of these kind of value red card printings. That's really it. I don't think this has a home anywhere else. I think Ruby Storm is the only place this could fit. But if it makes a spot in Ruby Storm, if Ruby Storm gets to that point where it really does hit the critical mass, and then all of a sudden it gets real consistent, real fast, we're gonna get to a point where that deck's very good. And I think it's quite close. So keep an eye on that list. Maybe tinker around with it a little bit, and keep an eye on Kalikai's YouTube channel, because he runs Ruby Storm, at the beginning of every new meta, and I'm sure he'll test this and that. So, Josh, any thoughts on Laughing Mad here?
No, not really. I mean, it's just it's prohibitively costed for any other deck, so
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's why I think it fits into the Ruby Storm as well.
I do think this card's probably going to be insane in foil, and I really like that the artist's name is Rare Engine.
Oh yeah, can we please move away from laughing clown faces on these discard draw card spells? I mean, the other one I didn't like very much because it was very decaying, and this one I just don't like Kefka very much.
Fair. All right, next up, Josh, take us away. What's next?
All right, so next we have another red card. It's called Red Mage's Rapier. So colorless and a red. Again, it has the job select effect. It's an artifact equipment. That says the equipped creature has, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +2/+0 until the end of turn, and as a wizard in addition to its other types, with an equip cost, again, of 3 colorless. I like this because it's a Kiln Fiend effect that triggers off of itself, or off of other copies of it. In the way that, or it's a Festival Crasher, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gets the +2/+0, and it's off of a non-creature spell instead of just an instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
So if you play your second Red Mage's Rapier, then the equipped token gets the +2/+0. Or the first token, if it's still there. I don't see this replacing any of the creatures in Hot Dogs, but I do see it possibly existing as copies like 9 through 12. Because that's really the bottleneck in that list is
how many creatures you have.
How many creatures
and
you have.
It has lacked a little bit just since Swift Spear's ban. It's kind of struggled to replace Swift Spear in that list. So maybe this fills that void. It's hard to say. It being an artifact is a little prohibitive. It being a 1 toughness creature is also a little bit prohibitive. It's tough. I think this might be like Kiln or Festival Crasher, like 5 and 6. I don't know if you go above 10 in that deck with this card. Maybe you go as far as 12, but I'm not super convinced at this card. This seems like a little bit of a stretch to me personally. But like I said, there is definitely a need for another Festival Crasher adjacent effect in Kiln Fiend since Swiftspear was banned and never really replaced. So maybe this gets lucky and gets gets promoted a little prematurely just because the deck needs a hero. I think Equip 3 hurts a lot, though. I'm not 100% sure that that's good enough. I really want this to be like a 2-drop with Equip 2, and then maybe you could use it to kind of replace itself by putting it on another creature. 3 mana just seems kind of unattainable in that deck, and I'm not sure that anything else really wants to run it. Very few aggressive red decks are going to play a 2 mana 1/1. Um, and because it's an artifact, kind of the same issue as Black Mage's Staff, or Black Mage's Rod, where you're gonna get hated because it's an artifact. Just kind of catch some strays with like the main deck artifact hate, which normally that deck would dodge. Um, Leaving behind a 1/1 creature just doesn't seem good enough. You really want the creature to have the effect that the equipment is giving it, not the other way around. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Last on the honorable mentions list.
Hang on, I do want
Oh,
to stop you there for a second before we move on.
yeah.
I think that it's possible that it could be because when you said that Swift Spear was the reason, or it was finding difficulty replacing itself, is why Hot Dog's kind of fallen off. Maybe think of another red deck possibility in the way of centering around the 1-drop Goblin Guide, which I'm forgetting the name of.
Tomb Raider.
Yes, Goblin Tomb Raider. Thank you, Mike. I can never remember his name.
Lara
Uh,
Croft.
I, I think Red Mage's Rapier could fit into a deck like that, just for a turn 2 play to have more pressure. And it would be essentially copies 5 and 6 of Inventor's Axe. But I think that that's
There
something
you
that
go,
this
trying to
card.
shoehorn Inventor's Axe again.
I love that card so much, but I think that's something that the job select shouldn't exist. I think it should actually be called auto equip, and it should have made a 1/1 colorless hero and equipped it to that creature, and then like when the creature dies, equip it to another creature. I think
That
that
could
would
have
have
been
been a
cool.
much more, yeah, much
Um,
cooler.
yeah, maybe. I
But yeah, that's all I had about this.
I'm kind of unconvinced. I think Tomb Raider is a good shout, but you don't really want this in that deck because that deck in general is going to be fairly creature heavy. And it's definitely not a replacement for Koldatha Rebirth, which is currently what that deck is lacking after the ban. So I just don't think this fills the opening that that deck has at the moment. As a 1/1 for 2 that attacks for more but is less efficient, you're never equipping. It's an art. I don't know. I'm unconvinced. But moving along, last up is another artifact. This is Instant Ramen. It's a 2/2 artifact food with flash, and when it enters, you draw a card, and it has the food thing where you can pay 2, tap it, and sack it, and gain 3 life. Now, this is kind of a weird mix of like Lembos type effects and Prophetic Prism slash, I don't know, something else. Um, it's pretty interesting because it has flash. It's obviously very like on theme. It's very flavorful, quote unquote, because it's food. Get it? That joke's been made like 87 times, and the set's not even out yet. But but I just don't know where this goes, which is the reason it's at the bottom of the honorable mentions list. To me, this card was certainly good enough to see play before Prophetic Prism was unbanned and before Lembos was printed. But we have Lembos and we have Prophetic Prism. So the decks that are going to bounce it a lot and want to be replaying it are going to play Lembos, right? The decks that need mana fixing but also want artifact synergies slash card replacement are just going to play Prophetic Prism now. And the decks that just want to draw cards but need artifacts are probably just going to run Wellspring plus some sort of a sack outlet. So the only reason you would want to play this is if you need an artifact that replaces itself that you can play at instant speed. And I just don't know that that's a deck that exists, and I don't think that this card is good enough to force that deck to exist. Um, the only corner case for this card that I can see, me personally, is because it has Flash, it is tutorable with Mystical Teachings. I can't imagine that that's the difference maker, but that is the only use case for this card that I've been able to cook up. Josh, maybe you've got some other ideas. Where are
Mhm.
you on this card? Are you hot? Are you cold? Are you currently steeping noodles? What's the play?
It's the set's not even out yet, and the noodles are definitely lukewarm. I've let them cool. I think that there's another possible spot that it could be, and I think it could be in a blue-black control list, like a creatureless list almost.
With Mystical Teachings.
No, um, I mean,
Blue
I
Black
guess but
Creatureless
you're never
Control is
searching.
literally called Blue Black Teachings.
That's not what I mean. I mean you're never searching for this with teachings. You're not going to pay the 6 mana to draw a card.
Oh, no,
Um,
certainly not.
you're never casting teachings to find this to draw a card unless for some reason you're brainstorming in the middle. Which even then, your brainstorm's gonna get you the card you want, unless you need
So
2 counter spells off the top or
the
something.
other angle is that this is a way for Mystical Teachings to gain you life when, like, Crypt Incursion isn't
Exactly.
good enough. I
Hmm.
can't imagine, like I said, I can't imagine the fact that this is tutorable from Mystical Teachings is, like, enough, but it's good to be aware of.
Well, I think more in the lines of it would be played over um, a sorcery speed version of this because you can just always hold counterspell up on 2.
Right, yeah, yeah. This allows you to draw your card slash play your value at the end of the turn after they've already passed their main phase. But
Yeah.
I can't imagine that this is the best way to spend 2 mana at instant speed in a deck that wants to hold up a bunch of mana and then draw cards, right? Like there's got to be a better way to draw cards at instant speed than this.
Um, there's Perilous Research, colorless and a blue, draw 2
Maybe not at
cards,
2
sacrifice a
mana,
permanent.
but Behold the Multiverse is definitely a card.
Yeah, but the downside is you have to foretell it on your turn.
But you have to foretell it if you want it to cost 2. I'm just saying that, like,
Mhm.
outside of the corner case of exactly its turn 2, you held 2 mana up to bluff counterspell and want to play your instant ramen. Like, there's got to be other cards that are better than this to get past turn 2, was my point.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked too hard on it. I'm bending over backwards to find spots for this, and
Yeah.
those are the only 2 I could think of.
Fortunately, it's in the honorable mentions, and we don't need to bend over backwards, so let's not. And let's move right along into our actual top 5. So here we go, guys. Uh, we are ready to run.
Mhm.
Card number 1. I mean, it's going to be Summon Chocomog. Like, how can we not? It's a 3 mana 3/3 Saga Bird Mogul enchantment creature. It has 4 stages, and they all say the same thing. Stampede. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. This is a 3/3 for 3 that just pumps your board for 4 turns and can attack for 2 of them. Um, realistically, card's okay. Um, I'm interested to see the impact this has. We'll put it that way. I think that this card isn't like, holy hell, this card's insane power level, but it's certainly like efficient and good enough to make an impact on that deck. Like if you like curve this out where you go like, an inspector or a soul sister on one and then you play like a reasonable 2 drop or two 1-drops, and then you play this on 3. You attack for like 9 or 6 or 8, whatever, what have you, depending on how many 2-1s/1/2s you played. And then on turn 4, you like play Battle Screech, and you get one big attack with the Battle Screech tokens. Like you can apply a lot of pressure on curve with this in a deck that gets to run like Prismatic Strands and a few other things too. So it certainly seems like a good card in white. I don't know if this is better than Guardian's Pledge, but it is a creature, so I don't know if it even competes for the same spot. Maybe you're able to run both. I haven't like looked at the full 60 yet, but it's certainly like a pretty good card, and it's a 3/3 for 3 that buffs your board. So what are you gonna do? Seems good enough to test at least, and we'll see the impact it has. Josh, you got any lists brewing for this card? Where are we here?
No, I don't have anything where I'm thinking about putting this that's particularly spicy. Anything I've tried to make in the past that goes 1-drop, make tokens, turn 3 do stuff
Mm-hmm.
has generally fallen behind. But I
Agreed.
like how this lets you, instead of thinking about playing an Anthem on 3 to get
Mm.
4 extra damage through, you still get to invest into the board, and
Right.
and you swing with 2 to 3 extra damage. So this card is more instilling good fundamentals if you play it on
Right.
curve than the pure blowout
For
that
sure.
Rally the Peasants, I think, would do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am a little bit sad when I saw that we were getting enchantment creatures. I was really kind of crossing my fingers for like a really good 1 or 2 drop enchantment creature in white or green that like draws cards or does some form of finding other summons or other enchantments for Boggles, and then the 2 we got just like straight up don't get anywhere near Boggles. So a little bit sad there because the green one's like a 5-drop or something, and a little bit sad that we got enchantment creatures that aren't good enough for the enchantment deck in Pauper. You know what I mean?
Mm. I do
Um,
enjoy that it's got it's got too high of a toughness to be searched for or to be found with Militia Bugler,
yeah.
but you
Mm-hmm.
can still use like a commune with nature, I think, to find it,
Yeah.
the one
Mm-hmm.
drop one. So it could exist in a white green. It's just not going to be as synergistic as you'd hoped.
Yeah, I also don't think that this is in the deck with Militia Bugler. I think this probably kicks Militia Bugler out to replace it, but who knows?
Mhm.
Next up is one of your top picks for the set, so I'll let you read it.
Yeah. It is the Rook Turret, and it's a 4 mana, 3 colorless and a blue, for an artifact creature construct with flying. And whenever another artifact you control enters, you can draw a card. If you do, discard a card, and it's a 3/3. I really like this in the way of putting it in eggs. You can run less, or even not just eggs, but like any sort of combotron. Where previously it ran Golem Foundry, now it runs Pact Doll Terror. You could shave down on Pact Dolls if you wanted to. Although I still think you keep that number of Pact Dolls in, and you find slots for this in a different spot. But Rook Terror just lets you, once you've got your Rook Turret, 2 mirror and mirror. What's the
We know how the combo works.
one of forcers? The mirror, the mirror, the 2/1, the 2 mana one. Yeah, everyone knows that. Anyways, and then the action odds, and you can just go through your
We know
entire
how the
deck to
combo
find.
works.
How do you know that you know how the combo works? Do you know you? But
Not
yeah,
even a
just
little bit.
Rook Turret just makes it uh, a lot more consistent uh, than having to just go, all right, draw 2. Did I find it? No. Draw 2. Did I find it? No. Draw. You know, look at the top 4. Is it in there? Nope. Mill those. Lose 2. Look at the next 2. It
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it makes it deterministic, which is something that I always enjoy out of my combos.
Yeah,
I want them to be guaranteed.
yeah, that's fair. I think my biggest hangup with this card is that unlike Pact Terror, it's a 3/3. I think Pact Terror with 4 toughness was like just good enough at living through most of the removal because it was black and had 4 toughness. And although it was an artifact, that was good enough to dodge most of the stuff that were trying to kill it. Um, and it gained life. It like the drain is a thing that like matters over time and over multiple triggers where you start to put a clock on your opponent, especially in multiples. But the fact that you gain the life is really where its stabilization power came from. So unfortunately, this kind of doesn't do any of those things. It doesn't dodge any of the removal because it's not black. It doesn't have 4 toughness, and it's still an artifact. I do like that this has flying, but I don't think that that's really enough to carry it here. And unfortunately, while it does draw cards, I just don't see you having a turn 4 kind of off to ever play this to take advantage of the consistency before trying to combo and or needing to stabilize with Pactol. If it makes the cut, cool. I wouldn't argue. I'd be fine seeing it um, in a list and doing well. That would be cool. I personally am a little bit skeptical. I think that if it makes the cut, it's maybe a 2 of. Um, it really seems quite vulnerable. For 1 with the 3 toughness, for 2 as an artifact, and for 3 as a non-black creature for snuff out, and 4 as a blue spell. I mean, red blasts are played a lot right now in like every good deck besides a blue deck, and it kind of just arbitrarily runs into like everything. So I'm not sure that this one is gonna really make the cut, even through no fault of its own, just because I think the meta is going to be far too oppressive to it, and the aggressive decks that deck struggles against are going to punish you playing this on 4 instead of a Pactol Terror on 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whereas all the slow decks that the inevitability that this gives you is good against are already losing to your combo most of the time. So I don't know. This card seems like it should be good enough, but I'm still not sure it is. If that makes any sense.
Just let me have my cute cards, okay? Let me have them. But on the bright side, with Ashnod's out, you can sacrifice the Rook.
All right, Levy.
What? Levy, come on, man.
All right. Next up is our black card for the set. And this was really interesting because this was a card that I had completely dismissed until Josh talked me into it. So, in a rare break of format, I'm going to give you a back-to-back here, Josh. What does this one do?
Now this card's Malboro. It's 4 and 2 black. Sorry, 6 mana total. Creature plant horror with a little thematic ability called Bad Breath. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, and exiles the top 3 cards of their library. And it also has Swamp Cycling for 2, and it's a 4/4. I like this card in the actual Flickertron, similar to how we were talking about the Black Mage's Rod earlier.
How you were talking about it.
Yeah, how we
I
were
never
talking about
said
it
Black
earlier.
Mage's Rod goes into Flickertron.
How we were
Don't
talking
you put
about it
that
earlier.
on me. You tried to sneak that one in there. I'm not having it.
What? You totally convinced me before the show, before we were even talking. You're like, oh my
Hold
god, we
on,
gotta talk about Black Mage's Rod.
Hold on. Run that back. Sorry.
You said before the show, though, we have to talk about Black Mage's Rod. Oh my god, it's my favorite card in the whole set.
I
I'm like, no,
definitely did
mention.
not say that.
Look,
No.
I'm
No.
sorry, but we have to.
No.
That's just not better than Malboro. Anyways.
Agreed. We agree on that one.
Oh yeah, now you do.
I love that this is a commentary on smoking, by the way. It's called Marlboro, and its ability is Bad Breath. Can that get any more topical? Like, honestly.
No, yeah, Malboros have been around for a very long time.
Yep.
But anyways, this particular one is from Final Fantasy 15. Huh? Yep. Unbelievable. I don't know why they go with that one, but anyways, I think this one
goes the closest to a Beholder, and we just had Forgotten Realms, so it was on brand. I don't
know. Anyways, they're terrifying in any Final Fantasy game you play, but coming to Magic here, I like this card specifically over the Denrova Horror that is played typically as like the 1 or 2 of WinCon in Flickertron. I think it still has the ability to shut your opponent down, like it will win the game, just in a slightly different way. But it does attack your opponent on multiple avenues, while you have to target a permanent to return to your opponent's hand and they discard a card. With the Denrova Horror, Malboro just makes them discard a card. So you can hit him with the end of draw step, flicker, and your opponent never gets a card ever again. And then you also hit them if they have infinite life, doesn't matter so much because you can mill them out. And if they never run out of cards in the library somehow, you can kill them with losing 2 life each time you flicker it. So this card is just going to hit on multiple avenues to win the game, which I really enjoy, and I think it's going to lead to a higher success rate than just the Denrova. All right. Do you have anything to add?
I think this card's pretty good generally. As I said, I kind of wrote it off pretty quickly on my glance through the set. I mean, I saw 4/4/6 mana thing. It's like swamp cycling and some ability when it ETB, and I was like, none of that says win the game, so we'll just move on. And it turns out it kind of, if you like squint and you like look through your glasses and like look really hard, it kind of does say win the game. But just really slow. Now, we kind of discussed this on our own beforehand, kind of break the fourth wall a little bit. I think that while this card might not be outright better than Denrova, I think there are going to be tons of matchups in which this card is better than Denrova. And then I think where the matchups where this isn't better than Denrova, it's going to be substantially worse. So I'm not 100% sure which of the two gets the main board slot. What I am reasonably sure of is that the other one goes in the sideboard, so that you are able to kind of flip-flop between the 2 6-drop win conditions in the deck based on what you're playing against. I think that may be the way of the future for this card. This may be the sideboard card. This may be the main board card. I kind of lean towards this being the main board card because I think it has more conditions in which it wins you the game than Denrova Horror. But I do think in the controlling matchups where you're struggling to close the game because this can't attack through their creatures, they're able to block and flicker. You're able to flicker. They're gaining some life. They've got counter spells, so you can't really go for it with the ghostly flickers. You've got to be smart and be protected. You've got to focus on flickering your mnemonic walls and getting your value spells back and playing your prohibits and stuff to limit their options. I think in that matchup exactly, the Denrova Horror is slightly better because you can starve your opponent of mana. You can start bouncing their tapped lands. You can start putting them behind in that regard. And then against the kind of the board swarmy decks, obviously your main fallback plan is Breath Weapon and just wiping the board. But in the larger creatures, or if they've got like an animated bridge that's indestructible or something like that, then you can bounce it with Denrova. And I think those are kind of the games where Denrova is still going to shine for you. But this card does certainly do enough, I think, to warrant testing, and I'm excited to see it play. Flickertron is a deck that I've long kind of beholden as a really strong deck. I used to love it. Recently got back into it. Haven't really been able to click with the deck like I used to. I am running a slightly different variant than I used to. But pretty happy with how this card slots into the deck. I also think that it opens the door for you to run like one of the typed like swamp forests and swamp islands instead of like the bridges, because now you've got a swamp cycler in the deck that you can recur with things like Pulse of Marasa, where previously you were relying on Lorien Revealed Cycle. Could be something there, not 100%. The deck has always been a bit kind of synergistic in that it relies on everything kind of recurring everything else. And this being able to put itself in the graveyard so that you can then get it back, it also is a good flicker bomb. So, and it fixes your mana if you need colors. all of that kind of adds together to make a perfectly reasonable bomb for Flickertron, I think.
Oh,
So
um, oh man, I was gonna say Flickertron. If you could find some way to run Witch's Cottage instead of the other coast thing, then you could find that with this. But
oh yeah,
that's just
instead of Mortuary Mire.
yeah,
Yeah, but having 3 swamps in play seems like a lot.
it is. It is very much a lot. So it's just if you can find a way to do it, that'd be fun.
Fair enough. Mono Black Tron, anyone? All right. Next up is our red card for the top 5. This is, as Josh hinted previously, Mysidian Elder. This is a 1/3 for 3, 2 and a red. It's a human wizard. When it enters, you create a 0/1 wizard token with the staff ability of whenever you cast a non-creature spell, the token deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is a really interesting card because if you flicker it or bounce the host creature, you get more of the tokens. So unlike Black Mage's Rod, where only the current equipped token has the ping ability, all of the tokens this create have the ping ability. So like Jeskai Ephemerate probably loves this card. Really, really love to see this type of effect. I think this may even have a home in something like Boros Synthesizer, where you're able to Skyfisher it. Mardu Synthesizer or Mardu Ephemerate lists may come from this, where you get to use like Elemental to loop the Ephemerate, plus Mysidian Elder to generate a win condition instead of like Goliath Paladin or something where previously you had to rely on the initiative to get the job done. Now you can run like Mardu or Jeskai Gates with Cleansing Wildfire and then use this guy and flicker him a bunch in order to win the game. Super interesting angle to take because you can go wide and then just ping them out with spells instead of having to rely on other means. So really interesting win condition coming to like red X. I wouldn't expect this to see play in any mono red decks. It's just not kind of built for that one token. I don't think is going to be enough to really make you want to play this card. But I do really like that this is a 1/3. It lives to Breath Weapon. And then, just all you need is this body to be able to flicker or pick it back up and start building your army of wizards again. So really, really strong card. I'm excited to see how this plays. Hopefully the token art is good. I haven't seen it yet, but if the token is good, then I think this goes all the way. Josh, thoughts? Hit me.
And Wizard token is fine. It's not VV. But
Oh, come on.
I know, right? It's right there. Final Fantasy IX was literally filled with them, and they didn't go with them. Yeah. No, you pretty much hit everything. I didn't clock it being in a deck with Cleansing Wildfire because I figured the tapped lands would be a little too much of an issue. But I do enjoy this being in an ephemerate list, along with some like displace or even the black cards that cost 1 to where if they die you bring it back.
Sure. Yeah.
Any sort of
Not dead
a way to
after alls
get
and all
back
those.
into
Yep.
play. Yeah.
I think there's a really interesting like parallel putting this next to a Murmuring Mystic, which is pretty cool. Like in Jeskai Ephemerate, getting to have a Murmuring Mystic out while also flickering this and the Elementalist to get the Ephemerate back over and over really builds an advantage very fast. That deck has some very strong late game win conditions with this added to its repertoire.
Yeah, notable creature types on it too.
Yep.
Human
Mm-hmm.
and wizard.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that the token. I mean, I understand that they did the whole job overhaul, but I'm surprised they didn't make the token a human as well
Mhm.
and be a human wizard. That doesn't seem too far out of the realm of possibility. We've seen lots of like human soldier, human warrior tokens lately, so. Uh,
Mhm.
but I know they did that creature type overhaul with the tokens. They took a lot of the racial denominations away. So now I'm thinking back, maybe all I was seeing were human depictions in the tokens, and they weren't actually typed as human. I don't know. Anyway, super super cool card. Kind of a different direction for like a red win condition. You really do need to like flicker this or bounce it or recur it a few times before it becomes like a significant win condition. But I like the card, and I think that 1/3 body is just enough to dodge a lot of like the board wipey things that are often going to punish this card, and leaving the body just lets you rebuild. So super cool. Moving into our final card of the top 5. This is Town Greeter. This is a 1/1 human citizen for a green and a colorless, and when it enters, you mill 4 cards. You can put a land from among them into your hand. We all know the Satyr Wayfinder effect. But if it's a town card, then you gain 2 life. Now, towns are a new land type that's added in Final Fantasy. They're all the standard tap lands, and then there's a choose your color tap land that are all typed as town. Kind of similar to caves from Ixalan, things like that. But I don't foresee enough town synergy. Looking through the spoiler, there's basically none to really intro a town deck, like the Gates deck that popped up. So I don't think that part's ever going to be relevant. However, this is just an improvement to a card that is currently seeing play in Jund Dredge. So I fully expect this card to see play in that list. It's not going to be gangbusters. It's not going to be in a ton of green lists. It's not a new green staple, but it will certainly see play in at least one deck that is actively using cards just like this. Not only does this mill 4 instead of 3, but you get the land back right away instead of on a death trigger like the previous mill 4 creature that Jund Dredge was forced to play because it didn't have enough good effects. So here we are. Little bit of a low note to end on, but totally stable card. It's just going to be perfectly what Dredge needed, and here it is. So not a ton to say. Josh, do you have anything exciting, maybe other thoughts or angles on this card to take before we close out?
I mean, it does an okay impression of Lone Missionary if you find an Adventurer's in. But yeah, that's it. That's really all I've got.
All right, well,
It's
that
fine.
was our review of Final Fantasy IV Pauper. Brand new set coming out. It releases this Fridays, so hope you had fun at the pre-release. Hope your pools were good, and make sure you grab your Pauper playables from this set because the set price is absolutely insane. So the hyper playables from this set will probably also carry a fairly inflated price tag. So get them just in case it continues to go up. We really don't want to see like the Lord of the Ring effect. Fortunately, there aren't a ton of like absolute 100% slam dunks like there were from Lord of the Rings. So I don't foresee the price inflation being too prohibitive to playing with these in Pauper, which is helpful. That is it for us today. Thank you, Josh, for hanging out as usual. Appreciate you making some time to cameo on the channel. Everybody say thank you to Josh down in the comments, and don't forget to like the video. As usual, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and spending your Saturday with us. I will see you next time. As usual, goodbye forever unless I see you then. Peace.
See you guys. I'm going home.